welcome to our second episode of Heels and Cocktails podcast. I'm Anna Kotlarova. I've got Sam Foster with me again.
Hello.
And I've got Feng Ha.
Hi.
And today's episode is reserving your energy, whether it's after work, home with the kids, or anything else that might have you exhausted at the end of the day. So firstly, none of us are experts. We are talking from our own opinion and from our own experience as working and families and everything that we feel about that. We want to improve other women's lives. So if you do seek professional advice or you need to talk to someone, please see our links in our bio and on our website. Maybe some of them will help you, maybe not. But this is just a discussion that we're having. So secondly, I would like to start this episode with my own experience with reserving energy. And for me, it was after coming home from work, and having that balance with the kids and doing dinner and everything that you're doing and occupies your mind. So at a certain point years ago, I asked myself the question, does it make sense to you to come home exhausted? What about the professional athletes? Some of them work, practice physically, emotionally, and give all of their, being to what they're doing, and they still have energy. Or even if they don't, they still carry on. So I was asking myself, where do I fit in? Why do I feel so tired after work? I've got no energy at all. I used to have no energy at all. And so when I asked myself that question, I started paying attention to my day-to-day duties. And I was a chef at that point, and I was working full-time as I always do, and the kids were really little at that point. So I was asking myself, and back in the day, and I noticed that something that's changed my life forever. I was spending my day thinking unnecessary things that bothered me, like my past trauma. It just goes into your mind, and it's kind of like sneaks in almost, without you even realizing. And then you think, I've just spent an hour rewinding the tape of my past. Why would I do that? It was so painful. Why would anyone do that? Or worry like, oh, the kids have an exam. They have to go to their soccer practice. They have to do this. Or bills that you haven't paid and you have to pay and you worry about that. And all these situations were not making me happy. And I felt I was just spending time on negativity.
Yeah.
I loved my job. I loved being a chef. And here I was just spending the day working and thinking negative thoughts. So, and as I worked on myself every day to have a bit more mindfulness to what I'm doing right now, if I was cutting a potato, I was just cutting a potato. I wasn't at home with the kids. I wasn't thinking about bills. I was literally just, and I know it sounds a bit silly, but I was literally like, oh, look, I'm cutting a potato. Look, that potato looks really weird. I was just thinking, really slowly, one step at a time. And I noticed that the more positively I thought, the more I gained energy when I came home. So then at some point it was like coming home and I actually had time for the kids.
Yeah.
And when they're little, they can talk for hours. They can talk your ear off.
Yes.
And they'll ask you everything, and you want to give them all of that attention.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is actually working. So, and now because I practice self-discipline, I come home from work, I'm really tired, but I don't give myself excuses anymore. I just go for a run, and going through that threshold, that hard bit, 5 minutes, that was really hard because all you want to do is have a glass of wine and relax.
Yeah.
But I found it gave me more energy. So I came home and then my day is done, and that's it. So my question is, how do you reserve your energy, or where do you find that?
Well, going from experience on maybe a work point of view, I started to, we overwork, we take on so much more responsibility. And what I found was, what am I doing? I'm going to work, I'm doing so many tasks, and then I was taking it home with me. I'm tired, I said, with the kids, 2 dogs to walk, things like that. So yeah, I sat down one day and I was like, well, what am I doing for one? And I started to think, well, let's have a look at what I'm doing during the day. And you mark down all the things that you're doing, that are taking so much time up. So whether or not it's, having to talk to a friend, or you're going for your coffee, or you're taking on, helping other people. So it was setting out boundaries for me of, well, do I need to do that task? And it was prioritizing as well, because I think we get so overwhelmed and think we have to do everything at once. Well, you don't. And I think for me, setting that boundary, and one of the hardest words to say is no, because we always want to help somebody. We always, want to support them people and do everything, and then you burn yourself out and you don't have energy for yourself. You're helping everybody else. Or you want to do that new project and put it, but sometimes it's like, well, yes, I can do that project, but I don't have to do it for tomorrow. So I think it was prioritizing your work. So when I got back home, I wasn't as overwhelmed as I was. And I always think one of the good things to do is try and keep your work and your home life separate. Because your children, for instance, if you've got children, you're only little for so long. You don't want to miss that out, and then you'll look back and you regret some of the things. So it is just making sure you prioritize and making lists. So that's how I sort of reserve from a work point of view.
Yeah.
Maybe on a day-to-day basis, a weekend, it is just fitting in like physical activity, spending time with your family, as well, and making sure that you on that day you feel like you've achieved quite a lot. You haven't drained yourself. So, and doing things outside, walking, meeting up with friends. But again, it's okay to say no if you're too, exhausted, or, I can't do it this week, I'll do it next week. Because we want to take so much on, please everybody. I think we're such a, in this day and age, such people pleasers. And we forget ourselves, and that we need to please ourselves before anybody else. So I think that to me is one thing that, and everybody's going to have the bad days. Sometimes it's like you just don't want to do anything, and that's okay. It's okay to have days like that. I think sometimes we just need to give ourselves a break.
Yeah, I think that it's a really important point that you have provided here, and I want to ask you as well. When you're hearing this, are there moments in your life that you should say no, but you can't because you don't want to be rude, you don't want to be mean, you want to keep your relationship, but how do you get to a point where you say no? I think it's practice. I really do. I think one time, just rip the band-aid, as they say, and practice with small things. Even with the kids, if they asking you, sometimes it's okay for you to say, no, I can't give this to you right now. I need my time. I need to spend the energy on me. That's a really good point, and I'll be really curious about your answers. And Fengha, what do you think about reserving your energy, and how do you do it?
Well, it's interesting what you said about the people pleaser thing, because there's a tendency for the sort of female side of things to be the people pleasers. It's like we bring the children in the world, we think we need to nurture them, we need to feed, we need to be their sole responsibility. So we're used to the habit of people pleasing. Whereas I've noticed that with guys, for instance, if they need to conserve their energy, they'll go out to the man cave. They'll go out there and they'll do. So maybe we take a leaf out of there. What they do and just time out. I need my time out. I need to go away and do my thinking.
Yeah, and then not to have the guilt when you do it.
Yeah.
So how do you is that what you do to reserve your energy?
Yeah, there's some things, there's that, and then there's also I was thinking about my journey into work. I have about an hour or so on the train. That's the time when I'll go through my social media and I'll just look at it. And so I know I've got this dedicated 1 hour, I'm going to just do this and I'm going to blitz it all there and then, as it were, use that time up, and then it's that done. And then I won't touch my phone after that. So it's finding something that works for you, that fits in with your...
Sorry. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I like that, because we still want to go on social media. We still want to be included in the world, and we still want to know what happened to our friends or what happened on the weekend. But having that capped time,
Mm.
this is it. That's where I go on social media, and not at no other point I do. Maybe it'll help as well reserve your energy that way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as I said to my daughter, you know, she says, I'm exhausted. She's 16, she's at school. I know year 11 can be really tough. But I said to her, does it make sense to you? You're young, you've got, you know, plenty of sleep. You know, why are you exhausted? And then we delved in. How do you rest? And she goes, oh, I just go on my phone. Well, on your phone isn't necessarily resting. It still
Sort of
gets
stimulating
our
your
Yeah.
brain.
attention.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a kind of a
Yeah.
drug.
Yeah,
That's
oh
what
my
I'm
God,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
addictive.
yeah.
Mm.
I was saying before, you know, like it's like, well, sometimes it's like before you know it, you could be on a couple of hours, and you're like, I just watched a load of rubbish. Like, what have I
Yeah.
just gained from that? Nothing. You know, I've sent a few memes to friends, funny ones, and it's like I've just wasted 2 hours. What I could be doing.
Gosh,
Or
imagine
something else.
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
If you imagine taking out the time, and a lot of people don't realize, you know, you can see the time that you're on your phone,
Yeah.
and it's quite shocking. If you actually
Yeah.
see how long you've been on Instagram or, you know, LinkedIn or Facebook, or even just general Googling random stuff like I do, you know. So I'm not talking about, like, I need to know that. So yeah, sometimes I think I was just saying it yesterday actually, I'm like, I think I need to just delete the app for a little bit
Yeah.
and, you know, work on myself, because it's like I just get into this, you know, rabbit one, and you just, before you know it, you'll be on a couple of hours. It's like, what could I have done in that couple of hours? Needs is clean, just sort of bedroom, you know, I could have gone on a walk. So yeah, I pull myself up on that a little bit, because it's so easy to do. Because, you know, you feel tired, but it just makes you feel worse. You got up and went
That's so
for a
true.
walk, you know, got to exercise, you feel so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah, I think I do what you do with the phone capping. So for me, it's when I go to sleep, just before, and I know that I heard there's studies that it's not good for you, but I feel like that's the only time I get the news.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like during the day, there's just so much happening that in bed with my cup of tea, I'm so old right now, with my cup of tea and just catching up on the news or seeing some art and, you know, just
You could
switch
tell
off.
the truth. It's vodka, not tea, really. Let's be honest.
So,
We know your
Sam, we
secrets,
talk-
Alexa.
we talk- what happens in the kitchen. So I actually included a link to a really interesting read article. It's from the Royal College of Occupational Therapists, and some of them say a few things that we've mentioned before, which is, you know, pace yourself, plan, prioritize is a good start, and break activities up into smaller tasks and spread them throughout the day. You know, it's sometimes you get a break from work, instead of like actually eating, relaxing, you're on your phone paying a bill.
Yeah.
And you're planning to take your kids that, you know, or planning in the weekend or something like that. That's also not relaxing. You deserve that time to just stop and think about how you're feeling and how your body is feeling, and honor that time that you have. And some of them were saying, some of the article points were saying, like, plan ahead as much as possible,
Yeah.
which I think is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because if before a planner, if you don't use a planner or a calendar, I find it being like stacking up.
Yeah.
You're thinking about, oh, I've got to remember that I've got in 2 weeks on a Saturday, I've got this and that.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it 2 weeks earlier. And then it sucks up because you're worried about forgetting something as well.
I think you get, you know, caught up, and he's like, what do I need to do first? And that's where the list of prioritization of that is.
Yeah.
So you a friend once said, in your diary, all have like works in the calendars. Put in the time when you're exercising. Put in that you're meeting your friends. So you put everything in there.
I do
so
that
you're
too.
like, so like, right, just,
I can put my travel time to get to
yeah.
That's
awesome.
So yeah, and you know, I definitely think even if it's just half an hour in the morning, get up half an hour earlier, make your plan for the day. If you didn't do it, right, what didn't I get done yesterday? Because it's okay. Sometimes you can't get all done.
Yeah.
And then prioritize. Right, I've got to get this out, that out, and by certain times if you can. So yeah, planning is, I think one of the best strategies you can do. So
Yeah.
back everything in regards if it's business or personal.
Yeah, well, you saw my calendar when you walk in. I've
Yeah.
got a big calendar. It's stuck on the wall, and I include pretty much as I can. And that's not just for planning ahead, but it's really interesting to go back 2 months before and see what were you doing there.
Mhm.
How much
Yeah.
energy did you spend on this?
Yeah, good
How
reflection.
much? Yeah, a reflection of what you're doing is also, I think, helpful towards the future you as well.
Yeah.
So another one is create routines,
Mm.
which we talked about, like capping
Mm.
your social media interests.
Mm.
Or what else can be a routine? Are you cooking every day? I mean, that might be a routine. Can you afford to have a takeout one night?
Yeah.
Or
So
can
it's
someone
balanced.
else do that dinner for you? Like something that you can delegate, maybe, maybe that can be in your routine.
Yeah.
What else can be in a routine?
Like having a bit of a roster, when the children start getting older, giving them more responsibility. Say, oh no, you do dinner. It's okay to get takeaways and have a break. So
100%.
I think we beat ourselves up that you've got to have a dinner on the table for your family. Everything's got to be perfect, and it doesn't. It's okay to get a takeaway. It's okay to be, have list. Oh well, I'd really want to do this, but I can't. I've got to cut that. Well, do what you want to do on that. So 2 nights a week. Okay, we get takeaway on a Saturday and a Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. And that's your rule. That's what you stick to, because it's so easy to go, oh, it's all right. I'll just make it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cheaper. It's easier.
Meal
But
plan and
you're
everything.
paying for it, with your energy, with your time,
Yeah.
And also, like, sometimes once in 6 months, I'll go and, spoil myself and get a massage or something. And every single time I'm on that table, I'm thinking, why am I not doing this more often? Like, we can spend money on some silly things.
I was just about to say, it's like, oh, it's a money, but you can go out. You can go out, like Paddington. It's like you get the 4 drinks. There's $100.
100%.
It's like, oh, I could have had first 2 massages for that. So I need to prioritize and maybe spend as well.
Look at us, first world countries.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that. Not sorry. I'm just joking. I'm not sorry. We all try our best. That's the main thing. All try our best to do what we can. Actually, one thing that I do want to delve into a little bit more is about negativity. So when we carry negativity on our shoulders or past traumas, because I think that that's a really important subject. If you're a person and I've been there, I've been the same person. If you're a person that haven't forgiven yet or haven't moved on yet, and you're spending your day maybe judging another person, or what did he say to me? Why did he say that? How come this one? All of these negative emotions and thoughts, I believe they bounce right back at you.
Yeah, they take your energy. Yeah.
When you say that, when you think that, it's like the voice. When we talk, it bounces off the wall and comes back to us. Yeah. It's the same with energy. Yeah. And I think that can be so exhausting. And I mean, the way I did it, that's all I can say because I'm not an expert. The way I tried to get more positivity into my life is just by noticing little pretty things. I know it sounds silly, but even on the drive to work, I'll notice the tree and I'll think, oh, wow, that's a tall tree. That's a different color. That's just slowly teaching your mind to relax and to just think about positive things, just slowly. Yeah. You can't be like, oh, you're too negative, be positive. Yeah. It's hard. It's a hard process. Then it takes time to develop and teach your brain to think certain way that you're not used to. Yes. Especially with trauma, your mind kind of gets used to thinking about hurt or being hurt or being protective of yourself and your emotions. and then we kind of get used to it through our lives.
Yeah.
So unteaching that behavior
Yeah.
can be a really, really
Yeah.
challenging time. But you can. I believe everybody
Yeah.
can.
I think we naturally, as humans, go to more of that negative side of things. And, you know, so it's a quote that I heard, you know, like your brain's like the muscle, and you know, what you tell it's going to take on board. So if you're constantly negative about your body, or that you know, you haven't done enough of this, enough of that, you eventually, that's what you're going to believe. But if you actually talk about, like, I look pretty good today, or it's like, look at this one, you know, I think you eventually, it's like, you believe it, you know, like somebody compliments you, for instance, and you're like, oh no, I don't look that, you know, it's like, say thank you. I look pretty good today. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I've, you know, had to learn that, especially, you know, with my new paddies all the time, you know, oh, you're so beautiful, and that. I'm like, oh, I look a bit tired. Buffy goes, you look beautiful. And now I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
You look pretty good yourself. So it's like, I think if you just constantly start doing that more and accepting the compliments and that, you eventually
and you build your confidence. And you walk into a room and you build your confidence.
Well, I think as well, like, just on a, like, especially women, you know, we're always putting so much pressure on ourselves. I mean, you know, look a certain way, perfect, you know, do this, do that. And, you know, it's really weird because like now in my 40s, I feel more confident in my body than I did in my 20s and 30s.
I'm the same.
Yeah. And it's really weird. Like, always somebody said, it's sort of just like, you know what? I always remember somebody saying, you know, I wish I was as fat as the first time I thought I was fat.
Yeah.
And it's true. But, you know, you look back and think, gosh, that's pretty good. But we didn't appreciate it. And I think as you get into that, oh gosh, help me, middle-aged, but I think you're more accepting of yourself. I think you're just more confident and
well, maybe we find the value inside of ourselves. I mean, I know for me, like, I think, you know, I got to a point in life where I thought, you know what, I'm funny. I mean, I don't care if I make other people laugh, but I made myself laugh. And then I noticed my quirks and my cooking and how much I love produce or nature, and I just started gaining that value and stopped looking at the mirror as much. Don't get me wrong, like, we all like to have like dress up and everything else, but it's not our whole being anymore.
And I think, like, you know, one of the good things, like we were saying, with people like funny and quirky, you know, it's having positive people around you. If you have negative friends around you, you know, they're just going to drag you down. So it's picking the right people. Sometimes you've got to let go of negative people. It's hard as
boundaries.
It is. Just because you've known them since the age of 9, and if they're dragging you down, you know, you're going to take that on board. And I've had that before. And I've had to break with friends because it just, you know, the negativity was getting me down. So I think, like yourself, obviously, since meeting both of you guys, you know, it's really nice, strong, positive women around you. You know, it's nice to have that. So it's like you've got to take that on board because we all absorb that negativity. We do. It can drain you. You know, even just with friends, sometimes they're there for you, and we're all going to be negative, and everybody likes to whinge. You're like a little bit.
I like the whinge.
You want
like a whinge. Sam's words for that.
But in the positive side.
That's so true, actually, Sam. The relationships that you have are really important for your life, and they do influence you in such a massive way, I think. Even if you think it's like, oh, I'm just going to go for a drink with that person because I want to get out, I'm bored. You know, the amount that you get influenced by when there's a toxic person in your life is actually more, I think it's more than what we give value to. If that makes sense. You know, and I started this group actually because at that time, my friend group, they would rather judge somebody or take the piss out of someone, or, you know, it just constantly felt like there's a negative emotion surrounding us. And I just thought at some point, like, that's enough. And I started this group and I thought, I need to find my tribe. I need to find women that are confident within themselves, that aren't going to spend their time on negativity and toxicity. You know, did you have the same experience?
Yeah, I've had the same experience. As I was explained before, is that, you know, I've had to drop a couple of good friends, you know, because they were draining me. You know, constantly listening to their negative, you know, negativity, the thoughts, everything was, crap going on in their lives. It's like, this is so hard. It's like, it's not so hard, and then it was what was happening with me because of who I am. I was constantly like, it's okay. I was constantly just being their therapist. And I was saying
Because you're
before,
an empath.
I totally am. And I always take on other people's emotions. And I remember going home, and partner would be like, why did you do that? Because you can see it just drains you. And I'm like, because it's my friend. I can't let her down. But then after a while, it was just got so much. You have to sort of learn when it's and it's affecting you.
Yeah.
And then, you try and be more positive for them. And having them close friends around you, if they're not giving you, a sense of pace or fun and laughter, and if it's just a constant negativity, and it just drains life. Life's too short for that. And even though they could have been long time friends, sometimes it's like you've got to learn how to let go, and it's hard. It's very hard
because very hard to let go.
Nobody wants to let anybody down, and you feel like you're doing the wrong thing, and but sometimes you've got to look out for yourself and look after your own mental health as well.
And you deserve someone, like everybody deserves someone in your life that lifts you up and that celebrates your success and your achievements in life, and even celebrates you and who you are, no matter how you've got a quirk and you've got some interest, and you should be celebrated, not put down in life.
No, that's it. It should back everybody up, and that it's the same with work, and got a new position, and got other people that did, and I was so happy for them. But it backfired a little bit. You realise who your friends were. It was soul destroying. But you just got to be happy for people, back people. You're not going to have ups and downs, and be there for all of them. But it works both ways. You can't always, you do find sometimes you're the one who maybe you're struggling, but you always put that fist on you because you need to be strong for them.
Yeah.
And after a while, it eats you up, and you're like, I'm not okay now. And you don't, with a lot of people, you don't get that back.
No.
It's like, it's not about them anymore. Yeah, it's not about them anymore. They don't want to hear it, but you've just took on all of their negativity and issues, and you've tried to help them through it with positivity. Oh, let's go out and do this. Oh, I can't be bothered. Or, you try and constantly, like, you sort of, sometimes it just gets to the point where I'm just like, this is just exhausting for me.
I'm glad that we're out of that toxic environment and situation. What about yourself? Did you have kind of those kind of toxic environments?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can kind of relate a little bit, because you build up that history with that person. You know the good times, and you've seen really good parts of that person. But then they're going through what you think is maybe a patch.
Yes.
But then it kind of it does get to the point where you can only take so much negativity, and then you hope the best for them. And then maybe the best thing is sometimes you let them go, and they might actually... if you caught up with them later on, you'll find out they've bounced back in some way anyway. Without you being there, and so sometimes you can reconnect.
You've got to sort of
stop
sacrificing ourselves sometimes for other people, and it's good to always be there for friends and support them. And as you say, through hard times, you're going to have that, and that's what friends are there for. But it works both ways as well.
Yeah, it does.
And I do find that with me, that's what's happened. I've always been that sort of rock for them. But then when I needed it, obviously, there's been a lot of changes last year. I found that they weren't there for me, and it's like because it wasn't about them anymore. That they need help, and because I couldn't help them anymore because I was suffering, and to go through that, it was hard. But then I was devastated. But you know what? Now I look back, I'm like, I'm actually better off because I don't have that negativity. The time it was soul destroying. But now I'm like, that person actually didn't give me that sort of any positivity anymore. We didn't have it was just like a constant negativity. And so it's like, I'm actually better off without that person. So she did me a favour.
That's right. Exactly. They do us a favour.
And
the more toxic they are, the quicker it is, the simpler it is for you to say, I'm done. So if you're going through something similar and you're understanding what we're saying, and can relate to it, if you're in a hard time with your toxic relationship, just maybe this would help you to have hope. You know, the more toxic it gets, the easier it is, and the faster you can say, no, that's enough. And some people can push you to that brink,
Yeah.
and they need to. If
Try.
you know, with my ex-partner, I would have kept going if it didn't get that bad. And because it got that bad, like, he pushed me into a corner and I had no other choice.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. Thank goodness, because I didn't waste any more time.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
thank you, goodbye, and I knew
Thank you. Yeah.
that was it for me.
Yeah.
You know, we would love to hear your thoughts about this subject as well. And hopefully after this episode, maybe for some of you, it will give you a little push to for a positive life, for a more positive life, and how to get it, I suppose. What do you need to change in your life to get that perspective where you can reserve more energy? So I just want to say quickly, if you don't mind, girls, and don't forget to pick up your makeup on our website. We've got magnetic eyelashes. Actually, I just had a sale on our website, magnetic eyelashes. They come with magnetic eyeliner as well, and some tweezers if you are silly like me and your hands are not stable, and you shake before you put anything near your eyes. The tweezers will help you there. Obviously, we've got the eyebrow pencil, which Sam is taking home tonight, and she'll give us an honest review.
Yes. The good old 90s brows, the same ones you got to fill in.
Loving that.
We'll test it out.
We've got the mascara, as I said previously, easy to put on, really easy to take off, and it doesn't leave you looking really scary afterwards, like a horror movie. It just flakes down when you put water on it. I don't even use makeup remover with that. I just wash my face with water, just a little bit rinse, and then I've got a nice cleanser that I use. I don't know what you guys use, but yeah, it's a very easy thing to take off. And then, of course, we have our lip balm. That's what they called. And it comes in like 23 colors, I think. So there's like shimmery ones.
Yeah.
There's like cute ones you can like put a lot on if you're feeling like a party, or you can put a little bit on if you want to go to work and still have that little spark. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. And thank you for adding value tonight for our people that are watching us and listening to us. And hopefully we'll see you in our next podcast episode. Thank you so much. Have a great night. It's serious time. Hey guys, sorry. Yeah, so that's right, Sam. That's actually a really good. Sorry, jumping in. I was like attacking. Like, that's right, Sam. Let me tell you something.
You're gonna give us the giggles.
I know, these are so dangerous, man. Let's start.
And then my eyes will start.
You know. so true, actually, Sam. The relationships that you have are really important for your life, and they do influence you in such a massive way. I think, even if you think it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go for a drink with that person because I want to get.